All right, good evening. It is 5:45 Tuesday, January 6th, special city council meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and acknowledge that the press and public were duly notified of the meeting in accordance with the Freedom of Information Act. Nicole, you want to do roll call?
Absolutely. Councilmember Cohen.
Here.
Councilmember Myers. Here. Councilmember Streetman.
Here.
Councilmember Goshen.
Here.
Councilmember Ward.
Here.
Councilmember Pierce.
Here.
Councilmember Carroll. Here. Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Mayor Pounds.
Here.
You have a quorum?
Thank you. First item is consideration of nominations for standing committees for 2026. I'd like to make a motion for the Administration Committee to have Bev Miller, Scott Pierce, and Jimmy Ward serve on this committee. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next, Public Safety Committee. I'd make a motion that we have John Bogosian, Ashley Carroll, and David Cohen serve on this committee. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Public Services and Facilities Committee have Katie Myers, Scott Pierce, and Rusty Streetman serve on this committee. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is consideration of nominations to boards and commissions. First is Accommodations Tax Advisory Committee. We'll do these all in a group. Barb Bergworth, filling the Arts and Culture slot on this committee, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Mike Boykin, Hospitality, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Chrissy Lorenz, Hospitality, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. And Margaret Miller, at large, a reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is Planning Commission. First is Ron Denton, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Suzanne Nagowski, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Jeffrey Rubin, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Rich Steinert, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. And Bill Laughlin, new appointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Is there a second?
Second. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is Environmental Advisory Committee. Laura Levens, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Todd Murphy, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Susan Smith, new appointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Britton Foy, new appointment for term expiring 12/31/28. And Charlotte Webster, our student appointment for term expiring 12/31/26. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Next is Board of Zoning Appeals. We'll do these separately. First is Ellen Gower, a reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. I'll make that in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Next is Bob Miller, reappointment for term expiring 12/31/28. I'll make that as a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Beth?
I'd like to abstain from this vote,
Okay,
please.
thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is Beach Preservation Committee. Alice Bova, appointment for term expiring 12/31/27. Wendy Pastorick, appointment for term expiring 12/31/27. Dieter Osterman, appointment for term expiring 12/31/27. John Schilling, appointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Dan Schlosser, appointment for term expiring 12/31/28. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is consideration of nominations for city judges, city attorney, and city prosecutor. First is city judge Michael Maloney. Next is associate judge Christopher Skipper. Next is city attorney Mac McQuillan. And next is city prosecutor Culver Kidd. I'll make that in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is consideration of nominations for CARTA Board of Directors. I would nominate or make a motion to approve Jimmy Ward.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next, since we've got two here, if we can do a show of hands and let Nicole catch up with how we're voting, just to make sure we get the record right. This is consideration of nominations to the Charleston Visitors Bureau. First, make a motion for Rusty Streetman.
Second.
All those in favor say aye and hand. You good, Nicole?
Yes, sir.
All right. Next, make a motion for John Bogosian.
Second.
All those in favor, same, raise your hand and.
Aye.
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 Got it.
You good, Nicole?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next is consideration of nominations to the Charleston, Berkeley, Dorchester Council of Governments. Make a motion to have Bev Miller serve that role for us. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, consideration of nomination for liaison for the Environmental Advisory Committee. Make a motion to have Katie Meyer serve in that role for us.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next is consideration of nominations for liaison to the Beach Preservation Committee. Make a motion to have David Cohen serve in that role for us.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Thank you all for that and for all the conversations to get us to that point. Next item is consideration of Waterway Boulevard Flood Barrier Project Phase 2 construction. Bastion Group LLC, $2,890,156. And you can see where those are paid for. If we can get a motion in a second. we'll
Motion
have
to
this-
approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Douglas, you want to
Yes,
give
thank you,
some
Mayor.
background and
Yep, this will be the second of 3 phases for this project. You'll recall that True Luck successfully completed the first stage of this project and the preceding months on the golf course. This would be the second phase. It provides not only a flood barrier in terms of elevating low portions of that walkway, but it also provides for repaving the entire Waterway Boulevard multi-use path and widening it. It also provides for additional stormwater systems in areas of Waterway Boulevard that have been problematic in the past and have needed those improvements. The city received four bids back for this work. That bid tabulation was in your packet. Based on reviewing the bids, the staff is recommending that council consider awarding the work to the Bastion Group. They have been a good partner in the past. They successfully completed the 41st Avenue outfall project. And that project, like this project, also was tied to federal funding. A federal grant is a little bit outside of the norm for contractors. So they've showed good experience with handling those types of projects. There is still a third phase of this project after this project to complete the barrier in its entirety. That phase would take place basically a year from now and is expected to cost in the neighborhood of $1.6 million. And again, that would be in future year. In your packet also is a proposed breakdown of how to fund this project. So we would want direction from council on this. The first portion is $980,000 grant from FEMA. You'll recall from prior discussions, this is a grant that we were awarded several years ago. We have been requesting a time extension on that grant. We have been notified that time extension has been granted to us, so we're alleviates.
For how long, Douglas?
I think it's till November. I think that's what we requested, but it's plenty of time. It's more than enough time to get the project done. I think now our biggest timing concern is this will be a disruptive project on a major thoroughfare of the city. We would like to do it in the winter months, kind of regardless of the release of the extension of the grant. So we're still hopeful to get this done during the slower times on the island. So the breakdown of the total project would be $980,000 from the FEMA grant, $1,250,000 from the South Carolina budget allocation, $1.6 million from the city's NPDES fund. Just as a reminder, there is a fee tacked on to all of our property tax bills that goes to the county. The county provides us the service of ensuring compliance with the NPDES program. They also take a portion of that funding and allocate it to a stormwater fund. They hold it for us, basically an escrow account. That fund has grown to somewhere just over $2 million. We haven't used it for a while. So we're proposing to take $1.6 million out of that fund, and then the remaining $2.524 million would be taken out of the city's capital fund.
Ask a quick question on that. Douglas,
Sure.
was that 1.6 ever earmarked for another project that we're redirecting to, or what? was-
No,
Okay.
no, that's just there.
And Douglas, this 6.3 is all three phases.
That's correct.
To be
That's total
One-
project.
One's 1 and 1A are done, 2 coming up, 3 next year.
That's correct.
Other questions?
What are we proving the,
We're
are we
proving
going to
that-
talk about the bids that came in, any?
Unless you want to.
Well, I do have a question
Yeah,
on
sure.
it that you did. So we opened four bidders responded
correct.
to the bid. And I understand one of the bidders were non-responsive. They didn't list one of the subcontractors. That was a requirement of the bid. So, but the question that I have is around the low bidder of all of them. And I think the reason that we're saying that they're not qualified is based on their water and sewer portion of their bid, if we feel that's too low.
Well, there's a,
But my question is that's on them, isn't it? If we have the scope of the work outlined and they bid that work, and they bid low, as long as they, if they understand the scope of the work and they bid on it, then if it's over that, that's on them, not on the city.
yeah, one would think that it would be that way. This particular contractor, we have had an experience with, they did, we would say in prior projects, they had a history of misbidding things and then making the project very difficult to keep on track in terms of funding and timing. That particular project got extended to almost 2 years. We were presented with about $500,000 worth of change orders for that project. We ultimately ended up accepting valves that were not the valves that we intended to use for the project. So there were a number of factors in our prior history with them that made working with them on that project very, very challenging, including and up to litigating with them and having mediation to ultimately settle our differences. So we just happened to have had a very bad experience and incurred a lot of additional costs beyond their base bid in our prior experience with that contractor.
Was that just one project?
It actually was two different, it was two outfalls. I think a lot of us looked at them as two, you could have looked at it as two projects or one. It was the identical work, but at two different locations. It did happen to take place in sequential years because they couldn't get it done.
So even though it was part of the same project, it was in sequential years, so the change orders, they repeated the same process
That's
you'd had the
correct.
first time around.
That's correct.
So the reason we're disqualifying or throwing that bid out is based on past work performance.
That's correct.
It's not for the fact that their number was questionably
That's
low
correct.
on water and
It
sewer.
was a, and the city's procurement code has, the term in the code is responsible bidder.
Yeah.
And it explains that it's not price. There's basically 10 different factors that the city should be considering when identifying the lowest responsible bidder. And when you look at all those criteria, a lot of them are driven by prior experience, exhibiting the ability to produce on time, on budget, satisfactory work. So of the 10 criteria, there were a lot of issues based on their prior experience with.
How long ago was that bad experience, Douglas?
2 years.
Yeah, I think we settled it, within the last year. It
Do you know
started
when the
just after
construction
COVID.
was, or, yeah?
I think it was 2021. Yeah, 20, it was, and parts of it were, I mean,
It's not like it was 10 years ago.
No.
it was settled within the last year.
And Douglas, John made a comment about the water and sewer piece. I mean, we know there's expenses coming with that because there are some complexities at different parts of this project. I mean, I think we're anticipating a change order for that specifically because they just either put a placeholder in or something, right? I mean, I just want to make sure we're,
Yeah, if you analyze the bid tabulation and compare their estimates for work on the water and sewer system, which is, it's a big chunk of the work, obviously. It's complex and there's a lot of work to that. They clearly are way less than their competitors on that portion of the work.
I mean, I see that, but if they have the scope of work in front of them and say they're bidding that scope of work and it comes in higher, then they need to pay more. It's on them. It's not on the city,
Should be
right?
on them.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, we find ourselves battling and luckily Thomas and Hutton does the vast majority of this where they push back on those change orders. In our most recent situation, we did. The Thomas and Hutton said this is an unjustified change order. It ultimately led to legal action, mediation. We get into, what's less cost, settling or paying legal fees. And so it created an unpleasant experience for all of us.
So of the four bidders, we've disqualified two, and then the other,
Was the highest. The other was higher,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, True Luck was highest.
True Luck did
Yeah.
phase one. So, and tell me again, on Low Country, what was the reason? And it looks like the price is pretty much the same.
$1,000.
It's on parity. I'd call it a tie pretty much between Low Country and Bastion. Can you just go into a little bit more detail? What was it that they didn't do that they were not compliant with that is raising the concern?
Yes. So I would agree that we saw them as basically a tie vote. There is about $1,000 or $1,200 difference, but it pretty much is a tie vote. Their bid also had clear placeholders for the water and sewer work. It was very round numbers, even numbers, all kind of the same for that.
Exactly the same number for different type of work, like bigger component.
Yes. So I think we're confident that they would be surprised by the cost of work once they got actual bids back for the work and not just estimates from an estimator. So that was.
And they didn't identify subcontractors either? Is that what the issue was?
Not with the bid. They did not.
And that was a requirement?
That was a requirement of the bid. The other portion that we've kind of spoke of already is we knew that Bastion now is kind of basically a tie vote, had performed excellent work for us with a grant in place. We knew their subcontractors. We know their work. So on that one, it really was basically a tie, and we just had it. We had prior experience with Bastion that was excellent, and we know that their water and sewer numbers were based on bids from subcontractors
and
and
Douglas,
not placeholders. Go ahead, sorry.
Bastion was under budget and under time on their project they did for us, the 41st outfall.
Yes.
So now that the grant issue is not as urgent, is the time frame going to be, are we still on, what's the time frame?
Yeah, I think we've given them, it's 4 or 5 months. Yeah, maybe 6 months. So we knew that the time, we still had this pressure of wanting to have the bulk of the disturbing work done in the slow time. But it'll be probably a 6-month process.
So it is still going to be getting underway in the next,
Yes.
it's just not quite as much of
That's
a
correct.
crazy
We had this thing of
rush.
trying to spend $1 million by the end of,
February.
yeah. So, so that time crunch is off, but we would still like to progress it quickly enough to get it done in the slow months.
So this gets us a new sidewalk?
This does get us a new sidewalk, finally. Maybe, Mayor, how many years? 8 years?
I don't want to trip over those roots anymore.
And Douglas or Rick, I don't know if y'all can speak to, so phase one was all that work was on the golf course. mean, can you speak to how that, I mean, we've had a number of high tides and king tides through this process. Can you speak to how that?
Yeah,
Worked.
I think it's worked very well. And I know Robert is here and he's been out there eyewitnessing it. I don't think that we have had extreme tides or extreme rain events since it's been installed. We did have one event, but it wasn't completed yet. So it did. So I don't think we've had a true test since it's been fully installed. But with the kind of moderate high tides we've had, with the moderate storms we've had, it's performed excellent.
Go ahead. I have one more. Yeah, just one more thing I'd be helpful to walk through. So if I look at, and it's in the packet here, it looks like our original forecast for the project was $4.2 million. If I'm reading that, it's all on the one page with some graphs here. And then our last view was 5.8 million. So that was an increase of 1.6. I think we've kind of been walking on the 5.8 for quite a while now. The new outlook is 6.3. So we've gone from a start of 4.2 to 6.3. So it's 2.1 million higher in the project. I believe we're going to have support to go forward with all this, but how do we, going forward, it seems like either we've got estimation challenges, we got cost increases, timing, but we're yet again another $500,000, this 5.8 was just presented to us a couple of months ago, and here we are now at 6.3, we've got another $500,000 of expense that we're going to have to, it's coming out of the coffers from somewhere. And I think I'm understanding too, Douglas, you've said a couple of times, is the Palm Boulevard Drainage Project now going to be deferred? So we're going to
That's correct.
we're going to be pushing some projects out. How do we address this? And I don't know if you could help us with this, but there's something going on that, whether it's this project or other projects, the timing and the estimation, we seem to be playing catch up and having to go find money for these are significant increases. And I don't know how we can start getting in front of these ahead of time so that we don't end up draining the coffers.
But we've changed the scope on this along the way as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't, I guess, I don't think we've had a change recently from my
The
standpoint. I
5.8's
do
been
know-
with us. The 5.8's been with us a while. I think that was when we went to the 6th to the 7th potentially.
I will say that I know that some of our original estimates were based on this golf course work. And if you'll recall, this gets into a long drawn out history, but we had pricing from the golf course contractor. Come to find out, and we actually authorized the golf course contractor to proceed at somewhere around $500,000. Come to find out, we couldn't get them to do that money, went back out to bid. The actual work for that was $1.5 million. So that was $1 million of the 2.1 was that. And I think we knew at the time that the golf course contractor's bid was low and we were getting a good deal. It
Too
just
good to be
It
true.
was too good to be
Yeah.
true, and it worked out.
That's on us. I mean, I think we've got to do, so how can we do some due diligence better on our side to prepare the budget impacts going forward instead of having to, just something we ought to think about.
Yeah.
How do we, this March has been a $2 million, we're 50% over where we thought we would be. And at the start of this, and that's a fairly significant. We've had that with some of the beach spending and some of the other things that we're, I think we just got to take a look at that.
I mean, this is definitely one too, and this is not terribly uncommon with these type of projects where we conceptualize a project, we kind of, are spitballing pricing, and then once it actually comes to being surveyed, fully engineered, and plans are developed, they do have a tendency to do that.
And delays cost us money too.
Comment.
Yep.
This city has a history of this. It's just the nature of the work. I remember, God, it must have been 20 years ago that we did a revamp of the Ocean Boulevard, and it came in 100% higher than what we originally budgeted. Because once you started digging, you started finding all kind of things. There's no way that we could have planned for it. It's
It is not.
there's a lot of projects like that, and to Scott's point, maybe we just try to do a better job of getting ahead of it, but looking out for the pitfalls. Some things cannot be avoided, especially in construction.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Thank you. Next item is consideration of purchase of tide valves for the Waterway Boulevard Flood Barrier Project, Wapro Inc., $48,518. If there a motion and a second, we can get to discussion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Douglas, you want to talk
Yeah.
through while we've got this separated out?
Yes, these are the same tide valves that are necessary to do the work that was just authorized. We have, and it's really going back to the experience that we had with the first project where we got valves that were not specified. And so part of this is to ensure that we're getting the correct valve and that there's not something that happens in the bidding that changes that. The other part of this is that we are given, and it's either a 15 or 20% savings from WAPRO's wholesale through a municipal deal that contractors aren't eligible for. So this is done to save money and to ensure that we do get the valves that we're wanting to use for the project.
I mean, Douglas, you would have a 20% and then another markup probably from the contractor.
That's correct. Yeah, if you were to allow the contractor to do it, he would pay 20% more and then he would mark it up additionally.
So Douglas, is this more a one-off, the valves, or is this a normal course of business too?
So we did do this, we used the same method when we did the first phase, where we did the construction under one agreement and then just purchased the valves separately. And so, I mean, I do think we're getting to a point where we have almost used all of the valves that we plan on using. There may be kind of a handful, 5 or 10 more on the island. But this has kind of buying them separately has recently become our kind of normal process.
I asked because I was surprised to see some, equipment
Pulled
that
out.
pulled out of
Yes.
the contract and.
Yeah,
we're
we
doing it
don't do that
separately.
typically. That is just for these valves in this particular situation.
So are these valves for the phase one or phase two?
These are for
Two.
phase 2. Yeah, these are for the work that was just.
And they weren't included in the bids
That's
that we
correct.
received?
That's correct. Yeah, we
Okay.
specified in those bidding documents, valves will be provided separately by the owner.
They do have to install.
Right.
Yep, they do put them in, but they get shipped to Robert's shop, picked up and installed by the contractor.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Rick and team, thank you for your help. You guys are good business partners, so we appreciate your efforts on our behalf. There being no further business,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Off record at 6:12. Thank you.